From attic to basement, we're here for you. It's quality service in all we do. Call Taylor 500 Help.
Taylor Heating and Plumbing, Taylor 500 Help. They're going to make everything in your house run nice, from your furnace to your air conditioner to your water heater, Bradford white water heaters. They make it nice. Listen, Taylor Heating and Plumbing, if you have drafty areas in your house, they'll come in and make sure the insulation is done right. Taylor Heating and Plumbing, they make sure that they have comprehensive maintenance plans ready for you and financing. So if you're thinking, how in the world are we going to get a brand new furnace because this one is about to crap the bed, don't stress important repairs or replacements, because with Taylor 500 Help, you can get those important things financed. Taylor also has important jobs ready for you. If you're looking for a job, they're hiring, and some of the current opportunities are HVAC techs, plumbers, project managers, and office personnel. It's Taylor Heating and Plumbing at Taylor 500 Help. Precision Lawn and Garden, North Avenue in Webster. You ready to mow your lawn? You ready? Ready to get out that lawnmower? Oh, your lawnmower broke down and won't start? Go see Kimberly and Justin, Precision Lawn and Garden. They've been waiting for you, and they've been servicing surrounding Rochester areas with professional sales, service, and parts since 1969. They've got chainsaws and lawnmowers and Big Daddy of zero-turn lawnmowers. They have everything you need and all the major brands that you like Toro and Kawasaki engines and Cub Cadet and Aaron's. Precision Lawn and Garden, they're right there, North Avenue in Webster. Kimberly and Justin, they are the people to see. Express Sealers, of course, 645-2010, 645-2010. Brian will come out and seal your driveway. Make sure that you call and get on the reservation list, because I guarantee that it's going to be a busy summer for Express Sealers. That's 645-2010. Make sure you call our advertisers. They help support us here at We the People Podcast Network and Kimberly's Revolution. We support them. They support us, and everyone loves everybody.
Everybody loves everybody.
Why not? I'm all about the love.
We'll go with that. Live from the We the People broadcast studio in sunny, beautiful, but chilly 46-degree Irondequoit, New York.
Hello.
The only people they truly understand is themselves. Here they are. It's Kimberly and Chad.
Hi. It is Kimberly's Revolution, and I'm Kimberly. And you are listening to the We the People Podcast Network here in Irondequoit. I have people in the studio with me for once. Chad is here.
What?
I know.
For once?
I missed you. It's been a while.
What did Tom mean by that comment that he made about us?
I don't know. I think
get to the bottom of
we're
that.
mean, evil, hard-hearted people. So Chad Hummel is sitting across from me. He is an attorney and the broker of Revere Realty, and also has his own podcast when he chooses to do it, called
Got Freedom.
Got Freedom. Did you do it yesterday?
I did not. You only ask me that when I don't do it. Sure.
And of course, Just Tom is sitting right here.
Hey, Kimberlina, am I considered one of your people?
You are one of my people.
All right.
One of your We the People?
One of my We the Peoples. Of course, you're one of my people.
All
And over to the side of us is Austin at the helm.
Hello.
He is
The invaluable
He's
one.
running the ship. He is making things happen. And also got to give a shout out to Fitz at Rockbox Productions, who makes all of this happen and set us up.
Iceberg, right
Kind
ahead.
of show. He, Fitz at Rockbox Productions kind of showed us the way, helped us get our start, made sure that we knew what we were doing.
Is it too late to leave?
Do we know what we're doing? I don't know if we know what we're doing.
Iceberg, right ahead.
But we sure look like we know what we're doing.
All
Right. But honestly, so thanks to Fitz at Rockbox Productions. If you want to put together a podcast, if you want to do something with your corporation or maybe a group of friends, or maybe you have a chess club or a group or an organization, you think, hey, we're funny people, or hey, we've got a message.
Chess club, huh?
I don't know. It's the only thing I could think of.
CHEST, Chest Club.
Fitz
Jesus.
Rock
Slow down over there, Morgan.
Vox Productions. All right. The name of today's show is Hate the Sinner and the Sin.
Oh,
All right,
boy.
that's a wrap.
All right.
Okay, let's go home. You ready to go home?
Yeah, I think we're good for today.
Hi, Janet. And she's saying hi to all of us. Hi, Janet. Janet. Damn it,
Thanks
Janet.
for joining.
That's from an old show. I don't know if any of you have probably seen it, but
Yeah,
I bet Janet has.
You're old. That's
Wow. Is that how we're going to start today's show? Let's just jump right in and get to, the
the news of the week.
elephant in the room.
Elephant in the room.
Mhm. Hate the sinner and the sin. Do we really hate anyone? I don't know. I think I hate actions of a sinner
True.
and the sin. I don't know if I truly hate anyone, but I do have to point out because someone said something to me on Twitter and said, "Hey, Kimberly, I thought you were so and so's friend. I'm just going to call him Loonsberry because that's just going to be the name going forward from here on out, Loonsberry. I thought you were Loonsberry's friend." And let me just get this straight. I don't have an axe to grind. He's always supported me. And someone said you called him a friend. And let me just be clear. One, I don't have any friends. That's one. And two, I have a bad
We're going to
habit.
get you the help you need for that.
Just try to go bowling and you'll find out that she doesn't have any
I
friends.
don't have any friends. And two, I have to stop calling, and I have a bad habit of it. And I think probably a lot of us do,
Sure.
of calling people friends who aren't really friends. I mean, we all do it, right? We call people our friends that we would never, ever call on to bail us out of something if we were in deep crap, right?
Yeah, it's one of those overused words. Kind of
It
like
isn't over.
heroes.
So let me roll back and say Loonsberry is not a friend. He is
Well, you don't even know his real name. Yeah, I can tell.
someone's work that I appreciated. He's smart, he's clever, and he's good at what he does. And he's more of he used to be, before that whole fired thing, he was what, Tom? He was he was someone that I worked with, right?
Yeah, he was a work acquaintance.
He
right?
was a work acquaintance.
You guys were in the same studios, right?
He was down the hall from me.
Yeah. Okay.
So I would see him
Did your paths cross during work hours?
passing in the hallway for a second.
You wouldn't stop and talk? Shoot the shit?
Rarely.
What's going on in your family? What's going on in yours?
Not even like you and I do.
What are you going to say on the radio today that's going to get you fired type of thing?
Now you would think, right? But no, that wasn't even something that we would.
Here, Kimberly, say this today.
In the 7 years that I was at those studios over there at iHeart, rarely spoke. Just again, work acquaintances. But so I really have to make that very clear. Not really friends, but someone whose work I admired, because in order to do the job that people do on the radio like that, it does take an extreme amount of talent.
Certainly.
And most times, and a lot of times, extremely talented people have freaking
Yeah.
something's wrong with them, right?
I can testify to that firsthand.
Something's wrong with them. I
Right.
don't even
Oh no, never mind. I wasn't talking about
you
you.
weren't talking about me because nothing's wrong with me. I do not have one freaking mental issue going on here.
I honestly thought he was
Right?
talking about himself.
I'm fucking normal. I'll just tell you that. There's nothing wrong with me. And I will be the first to call out if I'm, the only thing that's wrong with me is I might be a hypersensitive bitch sometimes, right? I might be a tad bitchy, but that's
I didn't
it.
think you were hypersensitive at all.
You guys are assholes.
But I digress.
Right.
So let's just get to this situation with the ladies. And I don't like to be the girl that says, "I told you so." But I kind of do. So I told you so.
But you kind of
But
cackle.
I love to do that when everyone goes, "Oh, Kimberly, you don't really know." Well, we kind of do now, right? So the guy wrote the blog. Everyone said, "Oh, it can't be true. Loonsberry is a man of faith and a man of God, and he's holier than thou. When he gets on the air, and he's very saintly." Okay. Yeah.
Which
yeah.
saint?
He's got a whole slew of women on the side that he's grooming and manipulating and showing his dick to and trying to get into bed. But besides that, yeah.
Yeah, other than that.
Yeah, other than that, he does all that on the air. And he's good at spouting Bible verse and saying, "I'll see you in church on Sunday." He's good at all that.
Yeah.
And then when he gets caught, he goes to the Bible verses on Twitter, right? And nobody believed that blogger, the guy who wrote the initial blog, the woman who reached out to this guy who lives in Syracuse and said, "I've got a story to tell, and I've got the pictures and I've got the text to back it up." And everyone was saying that she was a hussy and she was making it up because she got dumped. She did get dumped. She did. He cut her off.
Scorned, right?
He cut her off. He blocked her. just like he does with all the other women who get too close and want more than just the banging that he wants.
More than what he's willing to offer.
More than what he's willing to offer. He just wants the sex, and that's all he wants. If you're not willing to put out, then he's going to move on to someone who that's his MO.
I'm starting to blush.
Allegedly. So so the whole thing no one believed until today. It's a revelation. Hallelujah.
What happened today?
Today
He threw himself under the bus, didn't he?
he did. He did.
And now the news.
I got a call from the doctor this morning. It was like, this nitwit he says, I walked a note down to my doctor.
Handwritten.
Freaking, what'd you do? Did you hop on the back of your steed and deliver it by Pony Express? What did you freaking live in Mount Morris? No one believes that you walked a note into your doctor. You're a freaking idiot. And you know what? It's freaking unbelievable. The whole thing is unbelievable. First, you start on Twitter with the Bible verses, right? Blah, 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 and God will forgive. All right. Okay. So, Chad, that didn't work, right? The Bible verses. Okay. That didn't work. It's been done, overused. We got to think up something else.
That didn't save him.
Didn't save him. Gotta go to the next level, right? So he puts out a blog today. I walked a letter to my doctor. Okay, no one's gonna believe that. No one. Like it's 1863 and he's walking down or hopping on the back of a horse Pony Express while and delivering the letter to his doctor.
It was the Trail of Tears.
It is a trail of tears. And in this blog is filled with every excuse you can freaking imagine.
Let's hear some of them.
You want to kitchen sink this bitch? Let's do it upright. You want to? Because I'm sure he left some out. Whoever consulted him, they'd only did the trifecta of excuses, and I'm a little bit disappointed. But before we get started, he kind of did a rough draft of this whole blog, and he voicemailed it to me. Did you know that?
No.
So Loonsberry.
So upset you didn't share it with me.
Well, I know. I mean, he did reach out to me because I've been in the business for a long time, and he wanted to know how it would play out. And so I said, well, voicemail it to me, and I will, of course, listen to it.
You would have sent it to me, but I'm just one of those
You're
crazy parents that didn't want my kids to wear masks to school this past fall.
You're just a listener.
Yeah, that's
Okay,
all.
you're just.
I'm just somebody he's hung up on before on the radio about 3 different times.
right,
Literally.
right. He hung up on you.
He doesn't know I'm alive, so that's okay.
Well, I'm sure he holds my opinion in high esteem.
Certainly. After
So
this
he
show.
sent me the rough draft of this particular blog that he put on his site today. And I thought, well, that touches me.
He wanted to make sure you had dotted all of your N's.
Loonsberry.
Oh.
It's a lot.
Really, Chad?
My ends. Sure. Let's hear the rough draft.
That was a joke.
that he voiced that he sent to me.
Gentle listener, it brings me great displeasure to inform thee of a rather precarious predicament that I find myself in. 83 wives, 7 dick pics, and 8 affairs ago is when the trouble started.
Oh.
'Tis the attention my member seeks that garners at the limelight. Its braggadocious charm and unkempt appearance always starved for attention. Remedies I have tried to quell my desires. Salt licks, goats, mom's mental illness pie. Alas, my desire is strong and hard. Dear listener,
Oh,
I have
hell
been
is
found
this?
with my oaths and vows. I am but a mortal, broken and battered by a blogger who sees through me just as the sun's rays penetrate the lace of my maiden's handkerchief. So covered in the many tears she has wept for many nights and fortnights to come. Come, oh, come. Excuse me. I am but a man, a Mormon man
Oh.
with needs. I have lust in my head, heart. Henceforth, this parchment that takes on the ramblings of my quill shall to you be my cry for help.
Yes.
I have rode for 40 days and 40 nights through the newly thawed forests of Canasteo, lost in the feces that spew forth from my soul.
Yeah, definitely.
It is with this scribe that I
WTF?
implore you to render your services unto me. I beg your forgiveness. Alas, as for the time you read this, I will have thrice sexted your office assistant and attending nurse. Humbly your disloyal servant, Loonsberry.
Oh, so nice. As he hopped on his loyal steed and delivered his hand-delivered note to his doctor.
Was that Tom?
What the hell was that?
That was his blog that he ran past me this morning before he actually put it out today with all of his excuses. Yeah,
Wow.
I know. It's a lot.
Wow.
It's a lot. I told him to tweak it just a tad, and he did.
I
Yeah,
see that.
I made some changes. I just thought it was a little too old-fashioned, you know? So he did make some changes. He put in some things about the Rochester Psychiatric Center and, you know, his mama and mental illness. And yeah, there were a lot. So let's kitchen sink this bitch of all the excuses. You want to?
Let's go for it.
Okay. So if you want to make excuses for your unfaithfulness in your marriage and showing dick pics and texts with all these ladies, one that we definitely know of, and three that I've talked to so far, what would you think that some of the excuses are that might get you out of the trouble that you're in?
Tom did it.
Yeah. Okay.
The dog ate my cell phone.
Oh, Krista, someone says that this is a family matter. You know, that's interesting. It ceases to become a family matter when you manipulate people into relationships and they think that you're serious about them.
Well, let me say this. Can I respond to that?
Yeah,
'Cause
yes, please do.
George just posted a comment too. It says along the same lines, I hope that this never happens to all of you perfect people on here. It's a private family matter.
It's really not, Kristen, actually. And he made it public today when he went live with the blog. So it's really not.
Wait, so who is this? Is this George or Kristen? Who am I talking to?
Kristen.
It's Kristen?
Yes.
Okay. So Kristen, here's the thing. You're right and you're wrong. And the reason why you're right and you're wrong is because I guess it should be a private family matter. And I've wrestled this with myself over the past few days since this occurred. Like many of you listening, I've been a fan of Lonsberry's for years.
It's Loonsberry.
I've criticized him for years.
For the sake of the show, it's Loons.
But I still go back and listen. He's got, if it's true, which now we're finding out it's not, he's got a lot of, wisdom and sage advice over the years that I've liked to listen to. And I didn't want to pile on the guy either, and I still don't. But today, he decided to further the public discourse on this with that tweet. Was that a tweet that he had sent out about
or
Facebook?
It was his blog.
Oh, it's his blog.
It's his blog.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, the blog where he shreds other individuals.
Correct.
I mean, and the list is lengthy of the individuals he has taken to task about their moral and ethical standards, no less, right? I mean,
100%. Just last week, and I wish I could remember the context, but it doesn't even matter. Just last week, he went on a rant about a particular individual or group of individuals who he perceived were blaming their upbringing for their current state of affairs and conduct.
Right.
And he railed on these individuals, declaring that they should find a way nonetheless, that it's horse shit, that they're blaming however they were raised, whatever their childhood circumstances were, that they should simply rise up above it and all that. And, I've taken that position too before.
Right.
And it's okay to take that position as long as you don't spend 30 years with that position, with the 50,000 watts that he's had at his disposal, and then have this happen.
Exactly.
And then further the public discourse on it by asking for pity and
kitchen sinking all the excuses
and making up all the excuses that you said were never good excuses to make.
They're okay. I would understand. First, he understood that religion wasn't going to save him this time, right? The religious excuse wasn't going to save him. The holier than thou Bible verses on Twitter weren't going to be enough. So he consulted whomever he consulted, or maybe he didn't consult anyone. And this whole blog and the excuse idea was his own idea. And if that's the case, ridiculous. So the three excuses that he came up with are, the first excuse is, I have a crazy mama who was at the Rochester Psychiatric Center from the time of my birth, just about throughout my whole childhood, right?
And he's made that publicly clear over the years, right?
And my second, who doesn't have a crazy mama, right? And my
No comment.
his second excuse was, I've been having suicidal thoughts all my life because my mom was suicidal. That's number 2 excuse. All right.
Mhm.
And number 3, the coup de grace of all excuses, the number 3 of the trifecta of the excuses, I've been molested excuse. Seriously?
And he's talked about that publicly too.
Seriously? So mama's crazy. Mama was suicidal, and so was I. I was molested. So I got to show my dick to people. And I'm sorry. I'm sorry, but I gotta whip it out, take pictures of it, solicit sex from women, not my wives, and have affairs, at least going back to today, 1999, from the women I talked to today, the months-long affair that he had with this woman, that he met on a chat line. I'm not kidding you. While he was married to his first wife. So we would not be hearing about some stupid story in his mama's mental illness or his suicidal thoughts or his molestation today if he had never been caught, and if that Syracuse woman had never texted the pictures and the sex.
This is
to
the classic
the blogger.
This is the
that
classic
made
case
everything
of,
public.
of being sorry for being caught, not
And
being sorry for your conduct.
Right, exactly.
He's sorry that he got caught.
And quite frankly, it's bullshit. It's 100% utter, I'm saving myself bullshit. And I'm just going to tell you this right now. Suicidal thoughts makes me laugh because narcissists don't kill themselves, right? They just don't. They love themselves too much to kill themselves.
Just note for the record, she does not have any scientific studies to back that position, although I have already vetted it and thought about it, and it does make sense.
A narcissist,
Does make sense.
which is what he is, Loonsberry, 100%, is never going to kill himself.
He loves himself too much, right?
Yeah, he only cares about himself. So why in the hell would he ever kill himself? He doesn't give a rat's ass about anyone else, which is why he does what he does. Now, I'm not going to psychologize this whole thing.
Dr. Tom, what do you think?
I am not a psychologist, but I'm just going to tell you right now, he doesn't have suicidal thoughts. And I don't care if mama was crazy and he had a shitty childhood. How many of us have had shitty childhoods? And by the way, all these excuses make me sick. How about do this? I'm a horrible husband.
I fucked up.
I'm a horrible man. I'm an even worse husband.
I'm ashamed for myself.
I did those women dirty. I did a bad thing. I can only try to do better in the future, and I'm sorry. But no, we're going to make excuses. You know what? I got fired.
Kimberly, the speechwriter.
I said a horrible thing on the air. I said 2 men were acting N-wordly because they were beating a white woman with a 2x4 while she was trying to protect her friend's store. I said it. I got fired.
Made no excuses.
I said I was sorry. I didn't say, I said that word because, my dad didn't treat me right as I was growing up. He was a Marine. He was a war vet, and I just wasn't treated very well. And that's why I said those men were acting N-wordly. And I'm very no, I didn't say any of that.
I think I see a tear.
But you understand what I'm saying?
1,000%.
You know what? Take your licks and shut the F up. And that's all. And that's it.
Like you said, you don't want to psychologize it, and I don't either, because neither one of us are qualified to do that. So I can only give my own personal opinion, and that is, his behavior in writing that blog, and I don't know if many of the viewers or listeners have read that yet, and you certainly should read it. Do we have a link to it that we're going to be putting up
To
that blog?
Loonsberries?
Yeah, to Loonsberry's blog.
We could.
Yeah. I think what I hear when I read that is, to me, it's just further symptomatic of whatever his underlying problem that he really does have. In other words, he's not, because as you said, if you want to move on, you either stand down, remain silent, go get whatever help you need within your family, with your doctor, with your counselors, and you handle it in-house, so to speak. Or you do something like you just said. You make some sort of public apology, so to speak.
Right.
So that the people that spent the last 30 years in this community that became, at least in their own minds, your friend and your close confidant, because they've listened to you on the radio over the years and they appreciate your talent and so on and so forth, so that those people can hear from you. But you don't go public with what he went public with, because, again, to me, it's, if he's a narcissist, it just shows further. It's more symptomatic of that.
It is.
He's just further looking for attention. He's further looking for people to feel sorry for him.
For me.
He's,
me.
yes.
Me.
And that's never been his shtick.
Me. Forget about my wife and my poor kids.
Does he even mention them in the blog?
Forget it. No.
Seriously.
It's not about the women that he did wrong. And by the way, one's listening right now. She's the quiet one, a quiet friend. Quiet friend is number 3. She is listening and commenting right now. A quiet friend is woman number 3. There are 4 women. I have talked to woman number 2, woman number 3 who's commenting, and I talked to woman number 4 today. He doesn't care about woman number 3's story. Is interesting. She did not engage him. She went out of her way to not engage him.
So he sought her out
and avoid her. She avoided him every time she got the chance, and he kept coming. And not literally, he kept on and kept on and kept on, and he wouldn't be told no. And let me just tell you, he walked in her office one day, and this was a story that she told me. She had never met him, Loonsberry. He walked in her office because there was some big event that was happening. And that's all I'm going to say. Big event. And he walked in her office, and
where, at work? Or her work?
At an office, not at the radio station, but it was at an office because there was a big planning going on about this big event.
Okay.
And Wham was involved. And so he walks into this office, and she had a McDonald's cup sitting on her desk. And again, they'd never met. They had talked on the phone many, many times about the planning and the preparation and things that we're going into and how the live broadcast was going to be handled and yada, yada. And she picked up her McDonald's cup to take a drink as he was walking in. And he said, "Man, can you suck on me like you suck on that straw?"
Wow. Shocking, actually.
He never met the woman in person, but he talked to her on the phone. Is that something you say to someone that you've never met face to face?
Look at Michelle's question that she just asked. Sounds familiar, huh?
Should the guns be taken away? If he's suicidal, he says he is.
Kimberly posed that question before the show to me.
I did. If he says he has suicidal thoughts, he shouldn't have any of his guns.
For his own sake, right?
Not for his family's sake.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I'm just going to tell you this right now. He'll never kill himself because narcissists don't do that. They just don't. It just doesn't happen.
I'm going to have to believe what you say until somebody presents me with a counter study.
So this little excuse tirade doesn't work with me. This little how many excuses can we come up with game, because you were showing your dick to I don't know how many ladies. And by the way, not a very pretty one and not a very big one. Not a very hard one. We discussed that yesterday, didn't we, Tom? And it wasn't very manscaped, and it just wasn't very pretty. And by the way, no woman wants to see that. And if you're in your 60s, really no one wants to see that. Because
Tom, how old are you?
71, Chad.
So
Austin?
so
We're doing roll call here.
if he says he's crazy like an oversexed fox.
I'm at this point, if he says he's crazy and then you read that blog, I have to take him at his word at this point. Because again, I don't know why else you would put that out there. Why wouldn't you just, I was ready to move on. Look, I know I'm not the end all be all in, podcast radio, if that's such a thing in Rochester, but I was ready not to even think of, and, just move on. I listened to him on Monday, honestly, out of just sheer curiosity as to how he was going to sound.
He wasn't there Monday.
Or I'm sorry, Tuesday.
Yeah.
Tuesday, to see if he was even going to be back on.
Mhm.
He sounded normal and upbeat. And then today, out comes that blog. It's really strange.
Yeah.
Really strange.
So I talked to woman number 4 today that had reached out to me. And she met, I guess there used to be some chat line called Quest. Does anybody know what that is?
You think I would admit if
I don't know. I don't know.
Even I
I
don't
guess
know
it
what
was
that
big
is.
in like the late 90s
Quest.com?
here in Rochester. It was like a chat line where
Like
people could-
MySpace.
So
I had a pager in the late 90s.
so
Can I get on there on that?
I don't even know. I wasn't here in the late 90s. I got here in 2001. I guess I was
And then all
operable.
hell broke loose.
So this lady met him on the chat line, and I'm like, wait a minute, wasn't he married to his first wife then? And she said yes, but I didn't know that. She wasn't hip to really who he was, did not know, who he was, had no idea what he did, didn't know anything about him. And let me just explain to you how she asked, was asking the normal. I mean, again, he's on a chat line to meet people. And he explained his living situation as, I live with housemates.
Wow.
His wife and his older children now, I mean, they're all grown. I think a couple of them are in the service. He explained to this woman who he had sex with for several months until she found out that he was married as, I live with my housemates. And I'm like, I'm going to have to remember that one's a good one. That is a good one.
My housemates in Mount Morris, huh?
Yeah. Yeah. So
what does Mike say here? He was fired from DNC for cavorting with hookers in his car.
I don't know that
harassing-
that's true. I don't know that that's true. I have no idea if that's true.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm just reading out loud here.
But here's the thing that I hate. We would not be hearing about any of the letters to his doctor or knocking on his doctor's door or being farmed out, his mom's mental illness and being farmed out to foster care and being molested as a child. We would never be hearing about any of that had Loonsberry not been caught with his dick out, literally.
I think part of it is he's begging for help. Who knows?
No, I think he's begging just to go on living his life the way he wants to live it, because that's what people do.
True. Could
He's
be that too.
angry now that he got caught. See, I mean, maybe I'm just looking. Maybe I'm just one of these people. I don't feel sympathetic. I mean, Tom had an interesting point that he's going to have to live with things now.
Well,
Right.
as somebody that went through this as a teenager, actions have consequences. It doesn't matter what the addiction is. It could be sex. It could be alcoholism.
Cavorted with hookers in your car.
It could be gambling. It could be any number of things. Obesity. There's, dozens of illnesses that affect people. We all are weak in some manner. But the point being is there's pieces to be picked up. When this is all said and done, and people have mentioned this is a personal matter to him and to his family.
Mhm.
And it should really stay that way. However, he is not a personal person. This is a public figure.
He's actively
And he's actively
putting
put it out
in
there.
the public. It just doesn't make any sense.
Mhm.
But the point is that whenever this happens, whether it's some of these actions are legal, like his. I mean, there's nothing illegal about
There's
it.
not a thing he
Some
did,
of
and he won't
these-
lose his job. He will not. One, they can't afford to lose him.
Some of
'cause
these actions
he's the only talent they have over
are
there.
illegal,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But the point being
Like
is
what?
that
What's illegal?
I don't know. There's certain things that, maybe drunk driving is illegal, right? You get caught drunk driving, but you're an alcoholic or whatever the case may be. But the pieces have to be picked up by the family. And as a child, when this happened to me as a teenager, this takes years and years to recover from. This is not something you're going to wake up tomorrow because you've been destroyed. You know, your father has destroyed that sense of you as he's the greatest person on the planet.
Are you going to send me dick pics?
No.
Well,
Oh.
and
And the point being is
and
that
why should I feel bad about that though?
you shouldn't.
Right.
But
And that's a he
but
problem, not a we
he's
problem.
you know,
See how that is though?
when he's living alone by himself and his children at this point may or may not want anything to do with him, and it takes time to heal these types of things. And you know, his children probably didn't know. Maybe they won't know. I don't know. Maybe for them they shouldn't know. But you know, at some point that their family's going to have to figure this out, and they're going to have to move on from it. And it's something that takes years.
Well,
to
keep
get
in
over.
mind, he has several adult children. One of them who's a radio host out in Salt Lake. One of them who is in the U.S. Congress as a whip. So he has adult children that I'm sure, read his blog. I suppose maybe listen to him on the radio.
Mhm.
Obviously, terrestrial radio is now available on the internet. So maybe they tune into their dad to hear him. But
Right.
they certainly have to know what's going on by now.
One of the women that I talked to, woman number 3, the quiet friend, he's doing damage control, and
But is he though?
he's absolutely doing damage control.
By
And
publicizing
one of my
it further? I
one
don't
of my
know.
friends,
I'm
yes,
struggling with that.
because he wants you to feel sorry for him. It's a classic narcissistic behavior. One of my friends,
being a victim is a problem.
The
He's
quest-
not a victim. This was his choice.
the quest number
He
still
needs to.
exists.
He needs
Who
to.
knew?
He's going to have consequences for this, and I pray for him that his family
I
and
disagree.
and the people that love him will help him through this.
I think his wife isn't going to leave him because
Her choice, right?
Her choice.
her choice, not going to leave him. He's not going to lose his job because again, he's done nothing wrong except for lose the credibility of
Well, see, that's the thing.
some of his listeners, not all of his
I don't
listeners.
think you can underestimate the level of.
His listeners are still going to love him.
I don't know.
Some of them
There's a
will
lot
go,
of respect that goes down the drain here.
credibility is shot.
If he was
to a
Howard
point.
Stern, then yeah, your listeners are going to still love you.
Of course.
But the reason why, and maybe this isn't the only reason why, but I think part of the reason why we're talking about this here on our podcast
is because he's a holier than thou asshole who preaches, moral and ethical.
That's exactly what I was about to say.
Yes.
No, no, but in all seriousness,
Morals clauses. Oh, they
kind-
had moral clauses
yeah.
now.
he did spend the last 30 years. Look, if he spent the last 30 years manipulating wives and girls and family members, he's also spent the last 30 years manipulating his listeners.
Yes.
And I'll tell you right now, I'm one of those listeners
Yes.
that in part has been manipulated.
We're taught to do that because we want you to listen. We bring you in. That's what we do.
Are you manipulating somebody right now?
Hopefully everyone that's watching Kimberly's Revolution that I have manipulated into liking me enough to watch.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I
I make no bones about that, and I don't apologize. I want people to watch.
yes, but
and
like
listen.
you said though before,
And at least I'm honest about it.
well, that's it. Like you said before, when you do something wrong or you get accused of doing something wrong,
I own up to it.
you bite the bullet. The consequences
I
are
do.
what they are,
I have to.
and you had to move on and pick yourself back up.
I had to. But he's
And you never
different.
preached, or if you did preach that, you at least acted. You walked the walk. You walked the talk, right?
Yeah.
So if you had spent years, and I listen to you periodically on the radio, but if you had talked for years about picking yourself up, I see Tom shaking his
I know
head.
he is.
I didn't know who she was.
It's bullshit. If you had talked for years about picking yourself up in the face of adversity, and then you actually did it, well, then more power to you. But he has spent a lifetime and made a career and garnered thousands and thousands of listeners in saying things like, well, don't blame people for your circumstances. Be strong, be a man, find a way, plow ahead, pull yourself up by your bootstraps. And then he releases that blog today. And in one blog, he completely pulls the plug out of 50,000 watts, as far as
Yeah.
I'm concerned.
I know.
But
I know.
there's a lot of moving parts here to this.
There are a lot of moving parts.
Literally.
I don't want to see those parts. I certainly don't want to see the flaccid parts that I'll never get out of my brain. But it's just fucking unbelievable to me. The excuses. And that's all you see in whatever this is that he came out with today. All the things that he could have said differently. But you chose the easy way out.
Do you know that you don't have to wear a mask on Amtrak anymore?
Is there anything else to talk about?
Do you have to choose? Do you have to wear a mask to take dick pics?
I would advise that you do.
This is the point of the show, Kimberly, where you mention the sponsors again and we move on.
Anyway, I just think that it's always in your best interest to, take your licks. Maybe that's not the best thing to say, but maybe
Right.
when you get to a point in your life and you've done wrong, stop blaming others for your misdeeds. Maybe that's the thing.
That's a simple concept, right?
Maybe how about take
Easier said than done.
responsibility instead of saying I'm a broken man and blah blah blah. How about
He won't know that truth until he's living by himself in an apartment somewhere. And then maybe he'll understand that.
The broken man part.
and maybe he won't even then. I don't think he's the type that will ever know that.
The broken man part
We'll
should be
find out.
between him and his wife, him and his kids, him and his therapist.
Correct.
That's
Mhm.
it. It should not be on a blog.
Correct.
End of story, as far as I'm concerned.
100%.
Well, on a blog, and then on a blog that he writes in response, right?
Do you know what blog spells backwards?
No.
Golb.
He's not sorry. Xena says he's not sorry, and I agree with Xena.
I agree too.
And again, he would have never been caught had we not found out about all
Hopefully
this.
gets his help he needs and they can move forward together. Or and if they can't move forward together, hopefully he learns a lesson from this.
Please tell all your friends about Kimberly's Revolution and share this. The name of the show today is Hate. What is the name of the show today? Hate the Sinners and the Sin.
Hate the sinner.
Hate
and
the
sin.
Sinners and the Sin. And of course, love our sponsors, Taylor's Heating and Cooling, Precision Lawn and Garden, and Express Sealers. Netflix and fail.
Netflix
Holy
stock is
cow.
tanking.
Do we have that picture of there? Oh my goodness.
I thought about buying some today.
Look at that. Bing, ding, 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 boom. Company stock plunged more than 25% after hours when it revealed where'd all the subscribers go?
Do you know what Netflix rhymes with?
What?
Dick pics.
Netflix and chill. Netflix and free fall. 200,000.
Loonsberry's career and free fall.
I know, right? 200,000 subscribers just went away. Where'd they go? Where'd they?
To the We the People podcast
I
network.
know. That's what I'm thinking.
Yes.
I know.
Let's
Can
hear it for We the People podcast
Can
network.
I just say one thing? The fourth woman that I talked to today, and this is just will come on the podcast, she said,
Okay.
and detail how her relationship started via this chat
Are we gonna
line.
have to get like that voice and face distortion?
I don't know
computer
if she wants
equipment?
to be on camera, but she
Because that'll
will.
cost extra.
She said she would come. He was really into outdoor sex at the time, and she told
Who
me
isn't?
that Loonsberry and this woman, number 4, had sex behind the Warren Harding School. I don't know where that is, but they
Was
had.
he a president?
I think he was.
He was the 69th president.
Yeah.
Right.
So yeah. So
Oh,
Netflix.
for the love of God.
What
What is wrong with us?
I know.
Let's
I
start
don't
with
know.
what's right with us. It's a
So-
much shorter
Can,
list.
can we talk about the president falling down off an airplane or something?
Did he do that again?
I don't know.
Oh, I have
he falls
something-
up the airplane.
So I showed the picture yesterday of the federal judge in Florida that basically said, you don't have to wear a mask anymore. There she's so beautiful. She's our hero. The federal
the judge?
judge in Florida. Yes, she's 35 years old. She was appointed by Trump. And I think she clerked under, I forget now. What did I say yesterday? I can't remember who she clerked under.
One of the Supreme Court
One
justices.
of the Supreme Court justices. Yeah.
Scalia.
No, one of
Would've
the
been
other
one of the
conservative judges, but I can't think. Anyway,
Roberts, not the Roberts. is
It just
conservative,
goes to
but
show you
Doesn't
how
matter.
sick all these people are. The fact that we stopped talking about
Thomas Roberts,
this
Scalia.
topic, and
Clarence
30
Thomas.
and 30 people jumped off the
Clarence
podcast
Thomas.
feed. So I mean, obviously they're here to listen to your opinion about.
So do we have to go back to Lonsberry?
Yeah,
Well,
and
but-
you guys wanted to get
Well,
off the topic.
I know, but I mean, what the hell? I mean, come on,
All right, let it
people.
go.
Be better, people.
Well, here's what I'm going to tell you: that you don't understand how the audience wants to listen to things,
Right.
and that's why. I mean, that
so I
is
should
how
take my pants
That's why
off?
you're just Tom.
No, I'm just gonna tell you that's how you get ratings on a radio show. You have to know how long you can talk about something until the listener doesn't want to hear about it anymore. And they want to hear your opinion when you're talking about somebody like Loonsberry. Because it's topical and it's interesting. And quite frankly, people love a bloodbath. Let's be honest.
It's NASCAR.
People love a bloodbath.
Goes back to the Roman Colosseums and the gladiators.
And I got to be honest with you. Who
You're
really
all
doesn't?
sick.
I love a bloodbath.
You're all sick.
As long
Turn
as
off your damn iPhone. Go outside and ride a bike, you sick.
What
Hose.
did you put together all of this equipment for?
I don't know.
What did you put together all of
He
the
was-
equipment for?
Because I
bored.
thought we'd sell some real estate.
He was bored.
Well, we are selling real estate.
I know we
are
are.
buying and helping people buy and sell houses.
It's a great segue.
But quite frankly, because you wanted people to listen
Go
and
take
watch.
your kid to the park and
the
put him on the
podcast.
swing.
You want people to watch and listen to the podcast, right?
Right. Obviously.
Okay. So people would hire people like Loonsberry and I to actually have content that would make you want to listen to the radio. And when you have a riveting topic, you don't send them away, right?
I guess.
Sex behind the school.
Sex Behind the School, the Warren Harding School. That's what
Where is that? Somebody look it up.
number 4 told me. It's salacious. It's a bloodbath that doesn't involve you. People love that kind of stuff.
Thanks, Kathy, for your
Or
support.
people don't love that kind of stuff. I love that Kathy listens.
Just to remind
I-
everybody, there's 5 platforms to the show, so you won't see all the comments that come through, but we do see them all.
Some of the comments.
Yeah.
But yeah, I know there's other things that are going on in the world. And I got to tell you that, Loonsberry isn't the only dirtball radio guy that's out there. There are plenty of dirtball radio guys. And I think this and I told someone else
Oh,
why this whole Loonsberry thing made me so mad.
Warren Harding found it.
Because I'm a woman that's been in radio for a long time. And it's insulting to me, right? To have this guy use his radio platform to lure in women just so he could screw them and move on. It also is insulting to me, not only as a woman of radio, but also as a mother and a wife. To have the person in your life do this to you behind your back.
I thought you were going to say a woman of color.
Now I'm whiter than white.
Warren-
Okay.
Tom, Warren
No.
Harding. That's
Nope, same color.
right next
whiter
to
than white.
Speedway and Gates. It's right on Chile Avenue.
No, that's the Washington Irving School.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
So I don't know where the Warren G. Harding School was, but that's where.
Well, it
number
says it's
4
in
is.
Gates, Warren
But-
Harding School, Gates.
But I, as a mother and as a wife, and I don't know how Loonsberry's wife feels. I can only imagine. I mean, I don't know. Again, maybe Tom's right. Maybe
Maybe
they had a dealio. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe it's an open marriage.
Maybe they didn't. I said yesterday, maybe he needs a good beating. Some people don't understand
Are you advocating violence?
the hurt that goes through someone until you pick up a baseball bat and show them. A couple licks in, you get it. You
Maybe
know.
a 7-iron. Tiger Woods' wife with the
You could also
7-iron.
call him Dongsberry. Yes, you certainly could.
Long Dongsbury.
Long Dongsberry. Yeah, you could,
So
but
disturbing.
it's
on
not
so
really
many
long.
levels.
It's not a long Dongsberry. It's very short and
Tina says Spencerport and Long Pond Road. It says Kong Pond Road, but certainly she meant Long Pond. Where's Spencerport and Long Pond?
is that where Warren Harding School is?
Well, I'm thinking in my
I
mind.
thought
Long
that
Pond,
was the Catholic
Spence-
school there.
Yeah, that.
Trinity or whatever it's called. Or,
Bethany
Yeah.
says Mrs. Lonsberry number 3 won't do a thing. Can we again play the before we get out of here, can we play
Oh God, help me.
The message that he sent you.
the voicemail, the rough draft of his?
That is pretty good.
I'm
We should get that material to his therapist.
I'm
immediately.
really so glad that
I
he
think
thought
I'm gonna
enough
need
of
a
me
therapist after this.
to run it by me.
It was so good. I'll put my headset back on.
I love you, Lori.
Gentle listener, it brings me great displeasure to inform thee of a rather precarious predicament that I find myself in.
It's funnier the second
4
time.
3 wives, 7 dick pics, and 8 affairs ago is when the trouble started. 'Tis the attention my member seeks that garners at the limelight. Its braggadocious charm and unkempt appearance always starved for attention. Remedies I have tried to quell my desires: salt licks, goats, mom's mental illness
Goats.
pie. Alas, my desire is strong and hard. Dear listener, I have run afoul of my oaths and vows. I am but a mortal, broken and battered by a blogger who sees through me just as the sun's rays penetrate the lace of my maiden's handkerchief. So covered in the many tears she has wept for many nights and fortnights to come. Come, oh, come. Excuse me. I am but a man, a Mormon man with needs. I have lust in my head, heart. Henceforth, this parchment that takes on the ramblings of my quill shall to you be my cry for help. I have rode for 40 days and 40 nights through the newly thawed forests of Canastillo,
Steve.
lost in the feces that spew forth from my soul.
Yeah.
It is with this scribe that I implore you to render your services unto me. I beg your forgiveness. Alas, as for the time you read this, I will have thrice sexted your office assistant and attending nurse.
Yeah.
Humbly your disloyal servant, Loonsberry.
Loonsberry. I know.
I will be the greatest president that God ever created.
Thanks, Donald.
Speaking of another self-righteous papist,
Right. Exactly. Someone says that wife number 3 will not do anything because she's Mormon. So are you saying that the Mormon women are to put up with that kind of abuse?
They do have multiple wives.
Not that kind of. There are different sects of Mormon, by the way, but they're all like
is
cults.
that pun intended?
There
or
was like a
open?
TV show about
Sect.
that.
Sects.
SECTS.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sandra. That's
Harding-
exactly what I was thinking.
Harding is now North Star Christian Academy. They had sex behind North Star Christian Academy.
Go figure.
There you go.
Yeah.
North Star.
But again, number 4 didn't know he was
Do you
married.
think he was pointing north?
Well, his moral compass wasn't.
There you go. That was a good.
You set me up for that
Threw
one.
that softball and you hit it. I love it.
Yeah. I didn't know his first wife was Mormon either, but they did get divorced. But
What was his sixth wife?
so his second wife that was annulled, but he was married to his first wife when number 4 had her several month-long affair with him. But again, she did not know that he was married, had no idea until a friend said, "You know who you're hanging out with, right? You know who this guy is." And he's married, and he
So
has
my wife said to me after our second or third podcast, she's like, you know who you're podcasting with, right?
What?
Just
Oh, you're kidding?
Come on. I throw her the next softball and she misses it.
I didn't know.
You're supposed to laugh. That was a joke.
I didn't get the joke. I didn't get the joke.
It's okay.
So
I get it.
so yeah. So hopefully next week I don't know if number 2 or 3. I definitely don't think number 3 is interested in sharing her story live, only because she is still working professionally.
Mm-hmm.
And
Professionally? Question mark.
No, I mean she's a professional.
She has a career.
She has a career, and on it. You know what? I mean, and this woman was legitimately afraid that somehow he could turn this around and blame her. That she could have been blamed for all the pictures that he was sending her. And she was so afraid
No,
that the whole thing that
that's
they were
the only part of this entire story that is true. He's the only person to blame.
Right. He's the only person
He's
to
the only
blame.
person that took that step to do what he did.
and that's
He
the
didn't
sad
have
part
to do that.
You
is
talking
that
about the pictures?
I'm talking about all of it.
all of it. He's the
He
only
could
one
have
to
been
blame.
just faithful to his wife.
He could have
and-
been.
and that would have been it.
It's too easy. Why do that?
Well, I disagree.
Why not
I
just
mean,
be?
it does take two to tango.
But this woman
it takes one to say
did
yes.
not reciprocate at all.
Oh, well, yes.
Number
that
3.
scenario is different.
Number 3.
Yes.
But she was afraid that somehow, since she wasn't reciprocating,
Understood.
that
Okay,
even though
forgot
he had
that
sent
part.
her numerous dick pics,
Yeah.
and wanted her to send him pictures, and since she wasn't having any of it, she was afraid that he'd turn it around and somehow, make it seem like she was the bad person. She was afraid it was going to blow up the whole deal of the project that they were working on. She was scared.
Mhm.
And I felt bad for her because she was scared.
Somebody just said, leave Bob alone. He does more good than harm. Again,
Does he?
people say
You
things.
don't know these stories. You don't know how woman number 3
Ask his
felt.
ask his wife and kids whether that's true.
Is that true? Does it? All the people that he's holier than thou and morally, stomped on. I morally stomped on people too. Only people who had mugshots who victimized people. And I made fun of a lot of people too. But generally people who were criminals. But Bob stomps on a lot of people with his ethical high ground
With
nonsense.
the very things that he's doing.
With the very similar things that he's doing.
Correct.
Right?
So that's the
So
distinction.
my whole thing was, if you're going to walk that,
Here's my microphone dick pic.
if you're going to walk the walk, as you said earlier, you better talk the talk,
Yeah.
right?
If you're going to talk
Or
the talk.
you better walk the walk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Weeze
Because
does a lot for charity, and that's why he got away with his antisocial behavior. See, again, these things are all, statements can be true in very limited contexts, and then the exact same statement
so we
put in a different context, it's not.
He's
it's
not.
way
He's
off
not even.
base.
He's not even worth talking about.
No, generally not. He used to fight with me on Facebook, and then he quit.
Yeah, not even worth talking about.
Pretty
But
much everybody quits once they fight with you, Chad.
you win.
Because he
You-
doesn't stop. He's relentless.
you're a winner. Yeah, you're
Yeah,
a
I'm
winner.
all right.
Here, the moral of the story is:
What's the moral of the story?
don't send dick pics to people that aren't your spouse.
Be faithful. How about that?
Is
was
that so hard?
Was that a city council person? Who was the Rochester higher up, so to speak, for the lack of forgetting already? But just recently, there was that whole dick pic thing where the ethics board got involved.
Oh, it was
It wasn't a city councilman. What was that?
yes, and I know who you're talking about. He sent it to a woman who had reached out to
And
him
he
to
claimed
help.
that he claimed he was sending it to his wife, and he accidentally sent
and
it to her.
Oh shoot.
But didn't
And there were
didn't-
multiple women that he had done that to. And she was young too, like 18 or 19.
I'd love to go back.
She was at that house that got all shot up, right?
Okay.
Remember?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I can't-
I'd love to go back though, because I know Lonsberry talked about that extensively. In fact, I think he may have had him on as a guest. I'd love to go back now and listen to
how he handled
what
that.
Lonsberry's take was on that, because that would give us, it wouldn't be real time, obviously, but it would give you the best look
Mhm,
inside of his mind,
mhm.
right?
Yeah.
Not that we want to get there, but
Well,
but
according to him,
when you talk about this holier than thou and whatnot, he actually had an opportunity already to address this very thing
Mhm.
that he was apparently actively engaged in at the time. It would seem from what we know that he was actively engaged.
Michelle answered your question.
Ernest
Ernest Flagler,
Flagler,
county legislature.
Thank you, Michelle.
Thank you. Yep, it wasn't city, it was county.
Yeah.
I knew it was a lawmaker downtown, but it was the county ledge. Yeah. So Flagler did the same thing. And I know Lonsberry talked about it. And again, allegedly he was
Mhm.
engaged in the same conduct at the time
Yeah.
himself. So I wonder what his take was. Very interesting.
Would be interesting, right? So yeah, the trifecta of excuses. All right, that's gonna do it for
Thank
Kimberly's
God.
revolution. Wow, I'm glad
Poor Tom.
you're so
I
into
can't-
the show.
I can't believe that we could maybe.
Tom's going to call his lawyer and his priest on the way home.
I'm not a Catholic, Chad.
Was Tom triggered by today's show? Were you
I
triggered?
was triggered.
Were you?
As a one woman, one man person, I'm definitely triggered and disturbed by all this.
Well,
And that's every day.
you can't listen. If you do something wrong, admit it. Say you're sorry,
Yeah.
and don't make excuses, and don't fuck around on your wife or husband. It's really not that hard, guys. It's right.
So this one woman and this other
Definitely
man,
wasn't that hard.
Thank you, Austin.
Does Lori like the other man that's involved, or this one woman, one man thing that
I'm going to leave that one alone, counselor. It's just my wife and I.
That's going to do it for Kimberly's Revolution. We will be back next week. It is the We the People Podcast Network. Austin, are we putting the rough draft and the actual blog from Loonsbury up on our We the People Podcast Network.com website?
I'm sure we can.
I'm sure
Was that
we
a
can.
question or a statement?
Yes.
A request.
Yes.
Very good.
It's all those things
Thank you.
rolled into one.
Thank you, listeners.
Do better, people. All right. God
That's it.
bless. Be kind to others.
From attic to basement, we're here for you. It's quality service in all we do. Call Taylor. 500 help.